Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe if you've ever felt invisible at a family gathering. Comment below with the name of the family member who always made you feel like you didn't belong. Amelia Carter had spent most of her life tucked into the shadows of her own family. At 28, she had learned the painful art of invisibility. Every birthday, every holiday, every photograph taken at family dinners, she wasn't in any of them. She was the one asked to fetch plates, pour drinks, smile politely. Amelia had long since accepted that the Carter family loved appearances more than people. Her mother's 70th birthday gala at Crestwood Manor was the final straw. As Amelia walked into the grand dining hall, she was met with smiles that didn't reach the eyes. "Amelia, sweetie, this chair is for family. Why don't you take a seat at the bar?" Her mother, Karen, said this in front of 40 guests, her tone like honey laced with acid. Everyone laughed. Amelia did too, because what else could she do? A waiter placed the dinner bill in front of her, $4,120. Amelia froze, blinked, and realized it was all in her name. Every bite, every glass of wine, every dessert for 40 guests charged to her. She smiled, paid in full, and sat silently while the orchestrated cruelty continued around her. But then a quiet, firm voice cut through the noise from the head of the table. Her grandmother, Eleanor Carter, had arrived. "Just a moment, please." And the room fell silent. What happened next would unravel a lifetime of deception. Amelia's parents had died when she was 6. A drunk driver on Highway 8 had ended her mother and father's lives in one instant. Her uncle, Peter Carter, took her in, not his wife, Margaret. Amelia's childhood bedroom was the basement. The washing machine provided nocturnal company. The window was too small to see anything but the pavement. Margaret's cruelty was subtle but omnipresent, leaving her out of photographs, skipping her at school events, whispering to neighbors how lucky Amelia should feel. Yet there was one constant, her grandmother, Eleanor. Each Sunday, Eleanor whisked her away to a cozy cottage, teaching her how to bake pies, sharing stories of her parents, and giving Amelia the sense that she mattered. She held on to that love like treasure, turning it over in her heart during lonely nights in the basement room. By her late 20s, Amelia was a registered nurse living in a modest apartment. Margaret had spent decades siphoning the $500,000 trust Amelia's parents had left her for college, a home, and a future, funding extravagant gifts and vacations for her own children. But Amelia never knew, until Eleanor began quietly assembling the truth, planning the moment when justice would finally reach the Carter table. If you've ever faced betrayal from someone you trusted, comment "I see you" below. Subscribe to hear how Amelia turned the tables. The night of her grandmother's birthday, Amelia arrived dressed simply but elegantly. A navy dress, her mother's pearl earrings, a gift wrapped with photos of the baking afternoon spent with Eleanor. Margaret had booked the entire dining room, filling it with 40 guests, but she didn't expect Amelia to walk in prepared. The tension was palpable. Karen, Amelia's mother-in-law figure in name only, tried subtle manipulations. She whispered to guests, arranged seating to isolate Amelia, and smiled in a way that made everyone believe she was benevolent. But Eleanor's sharp eyes missed nothing. As the dinner began, Amelia noticed a man she didn't recognize at the head of the table beside Eleanor. His gray suit and briefcase suggested purpose. His presence was quiet but deliberate, and Amelia felt a pulse of anticipation she couldn't place. Margaret made her first move during appetizers. "Amelia, the bar might be more comfortable for you," she said. The words were soft, polite, but the intention was clear. Amelia stood, walked 15 steps to the bar, counted each, and sat. She had been trained for this, to be invisible. But this time, she wasn't alone. The man in the gray suit placed a thick envelope beside Eleanor's untouched dessert. Amelia's pulse quickened. Eleanor's hand found hers under the table, a firm squeeze. "You have to see this through," her grandmother whispered. Amelia nodded. A lifetime of waiting, a lifetime of being forgotten, had led to this moment. The room's laughter, the casual chatter, and Margaret's orchestrated gestures couldn't mask the unfolding storm. Amelia realized she wasn't invisible anymore. Like and comment if you've ever had to fight for what's rightfully yours. Share your story. Your voice matters. Dessert arrived, a towering cake with candles flickering. Eleanor blew them out in 2 breaths. Then she straightened, faced the room, and spoke. "Before anyone leaves, I have something to say." Margaret faltered but continued her performance of benevolence. "We raised Amelia when her parents passed. We gave her everything. She owes us gratitude." The room nodded politely. Some laughed nervously. Amelia's heart pounded. Eleanor reached for her hand. "No," she said firmly, her voice echoing with authority. "Your parents left her a trust. You took it all, and tonight I will set the record straight." The gray-suited man revealed his identity, Thomas Garrett, Eleanor's longtime attorney. With meticulous care, he laid out evidence spanning decades: bank statements, withdrawals, purchases, all traced to Margaret and Peter Carter. The money intended for Amelia's education, her first home, her future, had been spent elsewhere. The room gasped. Faces shifted from polite dinner masks to raw realization. Margaret's composure cracked. The Carter children were stunned. Amelia's stomach churned, but she felt no fear. She had waited 28 years for this.
You've ever been denied your inheritance, literal or metaphorical? Share how you fought back. Hit subscribe to see Amelia's next move. Eleanor formally revised her estate plan. Amelia was named sole beneficiary. Margaret and Peter's defense crumbled under the weight of records, testimony, and forensic accounting. Even the Carter children couldn't dispute the facts. The room fractured. Margaret's threats fell flat. The town of Crestwood would see her actions exposed in court records and news coverage. Amelia realized that the true battle wasn't just for money. It was for recognition, for justice, for reclaiming the life that had been stolen from her. Amelia walked back to the table. She didn't need validation. Eleanor's hand on her arm said more than anyone else could. "You belong here," her grandmother whispered. Amelia smiled, tears threatening, but her head held high. Before you finish reading, like this story, comment your thoughts, and subscribe. Tell me, would you fight or would you walk away? The courtroom confirmed Amelia's victory. Margaret and Peter had misappropriated $500,000 over 18 years. The judge ordered full restitution. The Carter family's public reputation shattered. Amelia's life changed, but not because of wealth alone. She reclaimed her dignity, her identity, and the legacy her parents had intended. Letters of support poured in, from neighbors, friends, and other adopted or neglected children. A former attorney of her parents confirmed the original trust had been intercepted. Eleanor's quiet preparation had safeguarded her granddaughter's future. 2 weeks later, Amelia visited the cottage. Tea steaming in delicate cups, dogwoods blooming, Eleanor smiling. "You see," her grandmother said, "love sometimes means waiting until the time is right." Amelia held the cup, savoring the warmth. She wasn't invisible anymore. She never would be. The story ends with Amelia walking into the March morning, free, recognized, and finally the author of her own life.